Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, 3 Indira Gandhi National Open University School of Education, SOE. Postgraduate Diploma in Pre-Primary Education, PGDPPED. MES 08 to Human Development during Early Childhood. Block-1 Human Growth and Development. Unit 2 Dimensions of Human Point Development. 2.1 Introduction. In the previous unit, you were introduced to the concept of growth and development. It was also discussed how the experiences of the early childhood years are important as they laying the foundation for the later periods of life. Hence, it is important for you to have a thorough knowledge about the different dimensions of growth and development, especially about the formative years. This knowledge also will help you as a preschool teacher and parents to discern of whether the child is lagging behind in any aspect of development. This unit discusses about the different dimensions of development, which includes physical, social, emotional, intellectual development, etc. We will also discuss about different strategies that can be applied to promote different aspects of development among children. The criteria and parameters for the assessment of different aspects of development will also be discussed in this unit. 2.2 Objectives. After going through this unit, you should be able to understand the different dimensions of development, distinguish between different aspects of development, explain the importance of each aspect of development, and apply the principles of development in classroom. 2.3 Dimensions of development. Human development is a complex process and involves a scientific study of both the qualitative and quantitative ways in which individuals change over time. Qualitative change is fairly straightforward and relatively easy to measure, as it involves changes in height, weight, and vocabulary. The study of the qualitative changes is more complex since it involves change in intelligence, which is abstract in nature. Now, you know that development is a continuous process and it is influenced by number of factors such as family, environment, nutrition, etc. Earlier, the field of human development was limited to the description of behaviors in a particular age group, but now the focus has shifted to know about the reasons behind the various behaviors. The latter is difficult to predict and also it is a challenging task. It is also essential to understand that all these changes take place in various dimensions. In order to simplify the discussion, these have divided them into various types which will be introduced to you in detail in the later part of the unit. It is important to remember that these divisions are often arbitrary and rarely neat. There is a great deal of overlap, since each type of overlap affects the development in other spheres. The major dimensions of development are as follows: A. Physical development. B. Motor development. C. Emotional development. D. Social development. E. Moral development. F. Development of language. G. Mental development. Let us now discuss about each of them in detail. 2.4 Physical and motor development. Physical development refers to those processes which bring progressive changes in the external as well as internal body organs of an individual, resulting in increase in the ability to function properly. Whereas, motor development refers to the development of strength, speed, and accuracy in the use of muscular parts of the body, and coordination and control of muscular movements. As a result of the development, you can observe changes in height, weight, body proportions, and general physical appearance of an individual. I times general characteristics of physical development. Different parts of the body grow at different pace. Sometimes their growth is rapid, sometimes it is slow. This difference in rhythm of growth gives rise to difference in proportion between the children of different ages. Physical development is very rapid during infancy. Period of pre-childhood is a period of fixation. By fixation we mean what is acquired in infancy is stabilized. 2.4.1 Characteristics of physical development at preschool stage. As a preschool teacher, you should have an idea about the physical and motor development. Let us discuss the major physical development changes that occur during the preschool stage. After birth, growth in some parts, such as height, is more rapid while others. At the age of 6 years, growth of lymphoid tissues, which are concerned with the immunity, reaches the adult level and it becomes double at the age of 12 and then declines as the individual reaches maturity. Also, the neural growth is more rapid after birth, and by the age of 4 approximately 80% of the neural growth is complete. In childhood, girls generally have less height and weight than boys. By the age of 5.5 years, the child attains 65% of the height he/she will achieve by the age of 17 years. The surface area of head decreases by the age of 5. In the early years of life, the growth of the trunk is rapid, but subsequently it slows down. Along with the growth of the trunk, we can see the bones of the chest and the midriff also attains their normal size and strength. At 4 years of age, the limbs are about 50% larger than their size at 2 years of age. These limbs continue to grow from 4 to 16 years of age. The feet increases by 40% in the first 2 years of life and then grow to 50% by the age of 4. You will find that with the passage of time the bones change not only in their size and strength but in number also. At the time of birth the child has 270 bones, but when the individual becomes physically mature, he has 350 bones. Later on, when the individual approaches complete maturity, the number of bones declines to 206. 2.4.2 Characteristics of motor development at preschool stage. Motor development means development of control over bodily movements through the coordinated activity of the nerve centers, the nerves, and the muscles. Motor skills are fine coordination in which the smaller muscles play a major role. A motor skill is a learned sequence of movements that combine to produce a smooth, efficient action in order to master a particular task. Gross motor development usually follows a pattern where large muscles develop before smaller ones. For example, lifting one's head, rolling over. Fine motor skills include the ability to manipulate small objects, involve the use of very precise motor movement in order to achieve an especially delicate task. Cutting, coloring are the examples. Point for the same. It has been found that 3-year-old children are able to perform the following activities: times able to manipulate play materials, times ride a tricycle, times feeds itself with little spilling, times throw objects overhead. J. Times make objects with clay. Times stand on one foot. Times jump upward. 4-year-old children are able to perform the following activities: times skip on one foot, times tie shoelaces, times dress and undress, times cut on lines with scissors, times run broad jump, times throw overhead with less body participation. 6-year-old children can perform the following activities: times climb up ropes, times throw and catch ball, times build blocks shoulder heights with light touch, times cut pastes, models and colors skillfully. This knowledge will help you to check whether the children are following right path of development, and if you find any deviation in the developmental pattern of the child, then special attention has to be given to that child. Sex differences in motor development. You will find variations in the ability to use the muscular parts among boys and girls even of the same age. The average boy is superior to the average girl in tests of strength, speed, and in many motor skills. These differences are aggravated with the increase in age. Boys are found to be superior to girls in activities which require the use of strong muscles, apply force and speed, whereas girls show remarkable performance in activities requiring greater concentration, accuracy, and precision and delicate coordination. While planning different activities, you should consider this aspect. 2.4.3 Educational implications. It is clear that development of motor skills depends upon the environmental opportunities provided to the child, particularly the availability of equipments, opportunity to observe and experiment, etc. As far as a teacher or parent is concerned, he/she should try to concentrate on these and try to implement some of these activities. Times provide nutritious food for the growing child. In addition to, they should be encouraged to manipulate, handle and use different objects so as to provide opportunities for eye-hand coordination. At all stages, activities like clay work, coloring, tearing, cutting, painting, threading and sewing, etc. should be planned. Times proficiency of motor skill depends upon regular practice, therefore repeated activities must be performed. For example, you can give writing text to the child on a regular basis. Times demonstration of motor skills is very valuable for beginners. So parents and teachers should try to demonstrate those skills to be acquired by the children, especially in the initial stages. Times independent activity accompanied by strong motivation leads to speedy motor development. Times supervision should be moderate, because if parents exert too much pressure on the children to acquire certain abilities, sometimes the children may get irritated due to boredom and also due to lack of reinforcements. 2.5 Emotional development. You might have heard the comments, "He is very aggressive," while she is a calm man. Quiet girl, he is always very happy, he is very much enthusiastic, etc. You will find various shades of emotions in different periods of life of an individual. Have you ever thought about the value of emotions? Have you ever thought about how emotional responses develop and shift with age? Emotions play an important role in the life and contribute to the personal and social development of an individual. Continuous emotional disturbance affects the individual's growth and development and give rise to mental, physical, social, and other problems, whereas emotionally stable individual leads a happy and peaceful life. Studies conducted by various psychologists indicate that emotions play a central role in all aspects of human experience. There are various factors that affect the emotional development. Let us understand them as follows. Factors affecting emotional development. Times there exists a positive correlation between health and emotional development. Children who are weak in structure or who suffer from occasional illness are more emotionally upset and unstable than children whose health is better. Times there is a negative correlation between rise of emotions and intelligence, so people with reasoning and sharp intelligence can check sudden rise of emotions. Similarly, under emotional experiences, reasoning and thinking powers decrease. Times healthy relationship between the parents and between parents and children has a remarkable role in the emotional development of the children. Times another factor related to family environment is the order of the birth of the child. We can see that the elder children attain emotional stability in comparison to younger ones. Times school-related factors like the attitude of teachers towards the children and towards dealing others, discipline at school, academic facilities available, physical facilities like furniture, refreshment facilities, methods of teaching, availability of co-curricular activities, etc. influence the emotional development of the child. Times there is a great influence of classmates and other members of the group. A child who has many friends and peers is more emotionally mature than a child who does not have sufficient number of friends. Times you can observe that emotional development of the child is influenced by factors operating in the social environment. The brave community is sure to produce fearless, courageous children, whereas children grown in emotionally polarized community shows emotional instability and emotional susceptibility. 2.5.1 Role of the teacher in emotional development. Let us analyze the role of school, more specifically teachers, in the emotional development of the children at the pre-primary level. Times as emotional development depends upon the physical and physiological conditions of the learner. Home atmosphere also exercises good influence on the emotional development of the child. The teacher should seek the active cooperation of the parents in making the atmosphere at the home for the proper emotional development. Times the interpersonal relationship in the school should be in such a way that it should provide emotional security and sense of belongingness to children. Pre-primary school teachers should try to help each child to mingle with one another, otherwise he/she will be somewhat introvert in his later stages of development. Times children should be encouraged to participate in diversified extracurricular activities in the school, as they are the source release pent-up energies. Times preschool teachers should adopt dynamic and progressive methods of teaching by incorporating a lot of plays and activities, otherwise students does not get a chance to express their feelings and thoughts. Times children should be taught the importance of respecting elders, especially in the growing stage. The famous saying is apt in this regard, i.e., give respect and take respect. By respecting their individuality, the children get satisfied. Times moral and religious education through several stories and pictures should be shown to the students that will help them to attain emotional balance and tolerance. 2.6 Social development. One of the most important qualities possessed by human beings is their ability to live together in a society. So, in order to interact with the members of society and to lead a balanced IFE, the most important aspect of development is social development. Social development refers to the development of an individual in such a way as he becomes a useful member of the society. Social development is the process of learning to conform to group standards. Following are the abilities of a socially adjusted which help him/her to strike a successful relationship with the society. Times willingness to cooperate with others. Times ability to tolerate view of others. Times to have respect for various social groups. Times ability to adjust with people and make friends. Times developing a sense of belongingness and enjoying social acceptance. You will observe the following sequence but ~m of social development. Duration pattern of social behavior. During first month cannot differentiate between human voice and other voices. Second month recognizes the sounds of human beings and gives smiles to person. Third month recognizes its mother and feels unhappy on separation. Fourth month shows selective attention to human face and feels happy. Company. Fifth month reacts differently to smiling and scolding and distinguishes between friendly and angry voices. Sixth and seventh month recognizes familiar persons with smile and shows definite expression of fear of strangers. Eighth and ninth month attempts imitate the speech, simple acts, and features observed in others. Between 10th and 12th month, attempts to imitate and even kisses it as if it were another person. At 2 years can cooperate with adults in a number of routine activities and becomes an active member of the family. After 2 years, you can observe children engaging in different sorts of plays. Initially, they play alone with some toys, which is called solitary play. Gradually, children of the same age from the neighborhood start engaging in play activities, resulting in the widening of social circle. This type of play is called parallel play, where two children playing each other without the sharing of toys. Gradually, Children associate each other by exchanging and sharing of toys. This type of play is called associative play. Finally, when they enter the later childhood, the toys have least role in the play activities. They cooperate in a number of activities and games, and this type of play is called cooperative play. 2.6.1 Factors affecting social development. Let us discuss some of the major factors that influence child in relation to his/her social development. Social development of child is regulated by culture and society in which he/she lives. That I tilde why children coming from tolerant culture have different styles of social responses. B. Family. The family is the most important primary agency for socialization of the child. Consciously or unconsciously, the child imitates the behavior of the parents and other members in the family and thus picks up many good or bad social characteristics. A. C. The parent-child relationships, the language used by the parents, the educational level of the parents, and socio-economic status of the parents, and availability of leisure to spend with the parents, number of members in the family are the other factors influence the social development of the child. D. Peer group. The peer group satisfies many needs of the child like acceptance, achievement, affection, approval, belongingness, fame, recognition, etc. A. Good company of peers, especially in the pre-primary classes, is of great help in learning good qualities. Through peer group interaction, the child understands how to cooperate, how to lead and follow, to think for common cause, and adjust with challenging social situations. E. The school. A lot of school-related factors influence the socialization of the child. The interpersonal relationship in the school, its tradition, values and ideals maintained by the institution, the curricular and extracurricular activities, the social qualities and behavior of the teachers and schoolmates, etc. have great role in the socialization of the child. 2.7 Moral development. In this section, you will understand about another aspect of development, which helps a child in developing a set of values which are essential for the growth and development. This is known as moral development. The term moral is derived from the Latin word mores, which means manners, custom and folkways. Moral development of the child implies inculcation in the child a number of qualities for which curriculum provides ample opportunities. Moral development refers to the development of moral behavior and moral concepts. 2.7.1 Role of teacher in moral development. The role of teachers and school in inculcating morals in the child is very important. Let us analyze the importance of school in developing the moral values and also try to compare with other agencies of society like family, religions, organization, clubs, peers, etc. Times the child learns moral behavior through identification and imitation. So, parents and teachers should serve as a good model. Times basic concepts of moral development can be inculcated through direct teaching. Times good mental health practices, use of reinforcements, individualized learning, opportunity for success and achievement, etc. can help students develop a positive self-concept and consequently desirable moral behavior. Times teachers should stress moral qualities like love, sacrifice, self-control, truthfulness and uprightness, etc. While teaching, times moral values may be inculcated in children by suggestion through stories like the stories from Panchtantraha and Gitopdesh, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Times biographies of great men may also serve the same purpose. Moral development is a challenging task for both teachers and parents are concerned. It depends on the nature of the experiences and training to which he is exposed at home, in the neighborhood, in school, and in the society at large. Two most important theories of moral development are given by Lawrence Kohlberg. and Jean Piaget. You will get a clear picture about these theories when you learn Unit 10 under Block 3 of this course. 2.8 Language Development. One cannot abandon the importance of language in our life. Have you ever thought about how the child speaks a particular language that is used by the parents? In this section, we will discuss how language develops. The development in speech, vocabulary, length of response are some of the important aspects of language development. Vocabulary of children in the initial stage is limited, which increases during childhood. Crying, babbling, and gestures are all important forms of pre-speech communication. As the mother interacts with the child while performing different sorts of day-to-day activities, there occurs gradual improvement in language. Following are the steps in language development. A. Feeble gestures and sounds. B. Babbling. C. Use of simple spoken vocabulary. D. One-word sentence. E. Combination of words into sentences. F. Development of skill in reading, and G. Improved mastery of the tools of communication. Now, let us see the sequence of language development from the point of view of time, which is as follows. Times at birth, language is practically absent. Times at about 4 weeks, small throaty sound are noticed. Times language development starts with the child's cry, smile and cooing at the age of 16 weeks. Times around 28 weeks, the babbling stage begins. Times around 40 weeks, baby imitates the sounds made new adults and takes these sounds into his own system. Now the baby says one word. Times around 52 weeks, the baby says 2 or more words. Times around 18 months, the baby combines words to forms basic sentence pattern. Times around 24 months, the baby uses simple phrases and understands simple directions. Times around 36 months, the child's vocabulary tremendously increases. Now he talks sentences and answers simple questions. Times around 4 years, the child uses conjunctions and understands prepositions. Times around 5 years, child speaks without infantile articulation. So, having understood the sequence of language development, you can now understand why a preschool child is able to speak about a lot of words without infantile articulation. 2.8.1 Factors influencing language development. Like other aspects of development, language is also influenced by many factors, both inside the home and outside the home. Now, let us look at the major factors that influence the language development. A. Imitation of the language used by parents, other adults and teachers. B. Cultural factors. C. Environmental factors. D. Degree of maturity. E. Level of intelligence. F. Physical conditions of the child. G. Number of children in the family. H. Socioeconomic conditions of the family. I. Child's emotional development. J. Teacher's language competency. As a teacher, you should be very careful in using words and sentences. You should speak very clearly and in modulated voice, with clear pronunciation. K. Bilingualism, another most important factor influencing language development, is bilingualism. If the parents are using different language at home, then the children find it very difficult to develop language skills. 2.9 Intellectual development. You'll know, as the child grows, SLHE interacts with the stimuli present in the environment, and this interaction improves his/her behavior. Gradually, he understand the surrounding world and start representing them in their brain. The process of intellectual development refers to development of abilities and capacities which help an individual to adjust his/her behavior to the ever-changing environmental conditions or to enable him to accomplish a task that needs complex cognitive abilities. Mental development is closely related with the language development. Language development results in concept formation. As the child interacts with the environment, he receives a variety of sensory data. These images and impressions, in the form of stimuli, reaches the brain and where it is processed and stored. So, gradually different concepts are developed, either with the assistance of adults or themselves. Then, an individual starts labeling these objects, this process called as conceptual organization. There are two factors that influence the development of mental abilities. They are heredity and environment. This will be learnt in detail in later unit. 2.10 Parameters for assessing of growth and development. In order to assess the growth and development of children at different stages, different parameters are used. The parameters may include observing the child's behavior and weight and height at different stages. You can make use of the developmental tasks to assess the development at different stages. Let us go through the parameters in the form of weight and height. The average weight of a newborn baby is 3.2 to 3.4 kilograms and about 20 to 21 inches length. In the case of a premature baby, the values may be 1.4 to 1.8 kilograms and in some cases it may reach unto 5.4 to 6.4 kilograms. Let us see the patterns of growth and height in babyhood, which is as follows. Height weight. Birth 20 in, 51 centimeters, 3.2 kilograms. Tilde. 4 months 24 in, 61 centimeters. 6.4 kilograms. Dash. L year 28-30 in, 71 to 76 centimeters, 9.5 kilograms. 2 year 33 to 37 in, 84 to 94 centimeters, 11.3 to 12.7 kilograms. Another most important thing for assessment is the developmental task. Developmental task is the task which given at specific states in the life of individual, successful attainment of which results in happiness and success in later tasks, where failure leads to unhappiness and failure in succeeding tasks. These tasks are basically expectations of parents and society which a child is expected to master through stages of development. For example, at the time of birth, a crying is a developmental task of a newborn baby. 2.10.1 Developmental tasks at pre-school stage. The important developmental tasks of early childhood, preschool, are as follows. Times learning to take solid food. Learning to walk. Times learning to control the elimination of body wastes. Times learning sex, differences and sexual modesty. Times getting ready to read. Times learning to establish emotional relationship with brothers, sisters and others. Times learning to distinguish between right and wrong and developing a conscience. By analyzing such developmental tasks, you can assess the growth and development of a child at this stage. It will also help you to know about the different tasks to be attained in relation to different aspects of development. 2.11 Summary. The study of human development is the scientific study of the qualitative and quantitative way individual change over the time. In this unit, you understood the different dimensions of development like physical, emotional, mental, social, language, etc. Although these dimensions are looked separately, but in this unit it has been emphasized that these do not occur in isolation. Each one affects other and each development is affected by the individual differences. We have also discussed the general characteristics of each aspect of development. The role of a teacher in the optimum development has also been emphasized. Towards the later section of the unit, various parameters of assessment has been discussed. THENKU